there's a subtle, relentless manipulation of the sports world, bending it to a matriarchal worldview, and which actually kind of leads into my next thing that I want to talk about, but you can chime in here before I get to Caitlin Clark, because I've had a lot of people upset with me, like, man, you've gone all in on Caitlin Clark. I know one guy, he's Korean. You've gone all in on Caitlin Clark. It's bad messaging. It's not consistent. It's not consistent with, your worldview, Whitlock. And I do, at this point, if she's going to behave this way and be this emotional and be this entitled or whatever, I do have some regrets. And then I do worry about, because when I say it, I make the prediction that, like, hey, the WNBA is going to end up being more popular than the NBA. And I know what the WNBA is. I mean, it is a woke, democratic messaging machine. That's the purpose of the WNBA, to promote progressive politics. And I am questioning what the wisdom of that. And but mostly it's just, I got a problem with Caitlin Clark's behavior. But anyway, chime in. Go ahead.
So let me rewind to your point about the female influence and how pervasive they push that. I don't know if it really relates to what you're saying, but it got me thinking. I remember growing up when we were much, much younger. I'm talking about when I first started watching sports in the early 80s. I seemed to notice, and people would talk about it, on Monday Night Football, a guy makes a great play, or any player, and they see him on the sideline or in the dugout, and they'd always say, "Hi, Mom." Everything was "Hi, Mom." And I'm thinking to myself, what about your father? Your father's the one who took you to the batting cage. Your father's the one that played catch with you. And I'm thinking to myself, now it's like, maybe they didn't know their father. But I always thought it was very strange that there was never a player that said, "Hi, Mom and Dad," or "Hey, Pops." It was always, "Hi, Mom." Now, to your point about Caitlin Clark, you know what? You're allowed to have your opinion. I respect your objectivity, as harsh as it is.
Just toss it.
I only took objection to one thing you said. You said, I am hard on the people that I like Magic Johnson. And you said, when Magic Johnson did a terrible talk show, I talked about it. I said, wait a minute. You're comparing what Caitlin Clark, how she is behaving right now, to the tragic hour. Nothing is as bad as the tragic hour. It literally ruined that white comedian's career just by being involved in it. Come on, nothing as bad as that. No, you're being a little hard on that young lady. Let her grow through this. She's maturing. Jeez.
Oh, now Steve's the sympathetic one. But yes, it is that bad. And this is a serious question and serious point in terms of what social media has done to just honest conversation. Because yesterday I lost 1,000 X followers because of my criticism of Caitlin Clark. And people are irate with me. They've emailed me, hey, what are you doing? Some people are enjoying it. Some people dislike it. Comments on our content. People are upset. Some people like it. But the real ramifications are, it's like, and I got frustrated yesterday and tweeted out or posted like, hey, keep unfollowing, because I'm going to say what I really think and believe about Caitlin Clark. This isn't me championing myself. If you listen to this show, you listen to me. I'm a terrible person. I'm a ratchet person. I'm nothing special. But I am slightly different in terms of I'm going to say what I think. Damn the consequences. I don't think most people in corporate media are willing to do that. They have a base, they have an audience, and they're going to cater everything they say to their base and the audience. I'm not going to do that. And if it costs me all of my X followers, I'm just going to have to deal with that consequence. And that's not me trying to beat my chest and I'm a tough guy and I'm better than everybody else. But I'm really just trying to explain to people there are real consequences for saying what you actually think in this current environment where everything's run. It used to be, Steve, we're old enough to, and we keep talking about how old we are, but it used to be a great thing as a newspaper columnist that you would generate letters to the editor, and they'd publish them in the Sunday paper, and everybody would look at that as like, oh man, people take that guy's point of view seriously. They sat down and wrote a letter and, complained. Now, any complaints are seen as a bad sign. And oh my God, Whitlock lost 1,000 followers for calling out Caitlin Clark and her petulant behavior. That's why we just don't hear much truth from corporate media, because everybody's afraid of their social media following.
There's no doubt. And Jason, I respect the fact you're going to stick by your guns, because I believe in today's social media fandom of sports, there is almost like this religious idolatry that goes on, that you're not allowed to criticize anybody. Look, I'm Magic Johnson's biggest fan, basically. I'm a Laker fan in recess, but if you're to ask me, what did I think about the 1984 NBA Finals? I will tell you flatly, he blew that series. Flat out. The Lakers should have won that title. Magic himself will tell you he blew it. Eric Dickerson is my favorite non-Miami Hurricane football player of all time. He is one of my boyhood idols. I bought both his books. I had a poster in my room of him. He fumbled 3 times in a playoff game, 86 wild card weekend against the Redskins. I thought he lost the game. Doesn't mean I like him any less, but in this culture today, Larry Merchant taught me this years ago, the legend. He said, Steve, I know this as a reporter. You could say 1,000 good things about a guy, and they'll read them, and they'll think you're fair. You make one critique, all of a sudden that guy doesn't want to talk to you. That's part of the deal that you have to be able to take. The problem is, too many of the modern journalists, broadcasters, whatever you want to call them, they make the deal and they capitulate to becoming basically de facto public relations flacks.
Butter, as a artist, what do you think? I mean, literally, this isn't a gimmick. I literally bought 2 Caitlin Clark jerseys. We're planning on hanging them up here in the studio. And these weren't easy to get. I had to, because they're sold out everywhere. I'm telling you, I started out with the best intentions, but it's blowing up in my face. These Caitlin Clark supporters are irate with me. And, as an artist and as someone that, is on social media or whatever, what do you think about how the way social media handcuffs you and makes you have to potentially either say things you don't believe or not say things that your audience doesn't want to hear?
I would like to see you in that jersey. Have you actually put that on?
This is a medium. And if I did, let me see if, I don't think I can get this on, but keep talking while I try to put this on.
If I don't end up in the penalty box today, the price you have to pay is you got to put that on. Yeah, the social media thing, I mean, look, you just look here in the comment sections on the chat for this page. They're ripping me up as I'm sitting here, man, like they're coming for me. But I think it comes with this new modern era of entertainment, and it affects businesses. It affects everything, the way social media has conditioned us. I mean, you go anywhere, you're at a baseball game, parents are on their phone looking at their social media. The athletes have so much vested in their social media. It's a part of their monetization. And it's just, it's so intense, the amount of comments. And you can say, just don't look at it, just don't read it. But it matters, and it matters to people that are used to consuming this much information. So I think it's a whole new layer that athletes have to deal with. It's not an easy thing to manage. And I think once you get a little older and
screw athletes, what about me? What about those of us in the media? We're the ones having to manage it. I think the athletes, and through their agents and the major agencies that represent them, I think they've hacked the system. I think the entertainers have hacked the system. I think that the major agencies buy algorithms and bots that go after and attack people that criticize them. If you attack LeBron James, there's a little bot farm, machine. If you question Beyonce, The beehive comes after you. I don't think those things are organic. And this is my Caitlin Clark scarf, is what I'm going to call it now.
Yeah, well,
it's a
Jason,
scarf,
you
not a
talk
jersey.
about
But go ahead.
hacking the system. You know, I didn't really realize or notice this till several years ago. When you have athletes and then some of the big brand name journalists who are represented by the same corporate conglomerates with 3 letters, well, all of a sudden that blurs the line. And then you see this a lot with the insiders. When certain writers or broadcasters have great relationships with NFL or NBA agents, and they want that access, they want that story, they want to be the first to break the free agent signing, these guys become very cognizant. It's human nature. Well, I can't criticize this guy. That's one of the 78 players that he has. And if I'm too harsh on Tyreek Hill, Drew Rosenhaus may shut off the spigot, and there goes half my scoops. So all of this really, to a certain degree, some of this is not only social media, Jason. I think some of it is about access and access to information.
Help us grow the Fearless Army. Pound that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with all your fearless friends.